All right, what is up everybody? Welcome back to another YouTube video, and this video is a little different. We're not going flying. If you're new to the channel, I'm Joey Muccio. I fly an Airbus out of the Tampa airport, airline pilot, and also super into fitness. Right now I'm training for a sub-3 marathon, so I've been sharing that journey a little bit. But this video is gonna be all about my journey from the start to finish of becoming an airline pilot, and I have my logbooks here with me to show you basically how long it took, and also talk a little bit about the price breakdown, but that has changed a little bit in the last couple of years. Long story short, I did a Part 61 program out of Melbourne, Florida, Melbourne Flight Training, and I did every single hour of my flight training and also my instructing at that school. And I can also get you a discovery flight or a free intro flight to their career airline pilot program if you're interested in becoming an airline pilot. I'll talk through the breakdown. So this is my first logbook ever. And then as I got more hours, I got this big boy, and then now I actually have a digital logbook. But all of my check rides are in these paper logbooks right here. So first check ride ever was my private pilot license check ride. So this basically allows you to take up friends and family. You can't get paid to fly yet, but you can go fly by yourself, go fly with friends and family. It's a really big first step. So here I did my private pilot check ride at about 60 hours, and this was 2018. 11/26/2018. You know, technically you only need 40 hours Part 61. So I did a little bit more than that. I wasn't quite ready right at 40 hours, and that's very, very common. And this check ride costed me around total, like all of my cost going into my private pilot check ride, it was like around $8,000 to $10,000. So that's pretty standard on what you'll get nowadays. Then the next check ride after your private pilot license is going to be your instrument rating. So this basically allows you to fly into the clouds. So private pilot, you take a written test. So you'll study for that, you take the written test, you pass that, and then you also have a practical exam, which is like a 2-hour oral exam. You sit down with a pilot examiner, they ask you a bunch of questions, you answer them. If you complete that, good. You move on to the flight portion, and then you go fly for like an hour, hour and a half. Same thing with the instrument check ride. There's a written test, and then you go and do the exact same thing. 2-hour oral exam, then you go fly and you go do different things, obviously, than the private pilot exam. The instrument check ride is more about learning how to fly into the clouds, shooting approaches, and everything like that. You mostly will fly under something called foggles, which will simulate being in a cloud while you fly that entire check ride, shooting approaches and all sorts of stuff. Holds and flying radials off VORs, all sorts of stuff. So about 3 months later, 4/18/2019, I guess it was like 4 months later, 4 or 5 months later, I took my instrument check ride. Same thing there, right at here I had about 170 hours. So this costed me around another $10,000. A lot of people are gonna ask the difference between Part 61 and 141. 61 is pay as you go at your own pace. That's what I did. I didn't really follow a strict schedule. 141, you will be on a strict time schedule pretty much. Obviously things change, but it's different in terms of hour requirements. There's 2 different ways of going about it, but I personally went Part 61. I just wanted to go at my own pace, and that's just what the school offered at that time. Now they have a 141 program, so you'll probably save a little bit of money, maybe going 141 rather than 61, and possibly a little bit of time too, because there's less hours required to get your licenses through 141. Then I got my instrument check ride. The next check ride, my commercial single engine. So now, you know, obviously private pilot, you can fly with friends and family. IFR, you can go fly in the clouds. Then commercial, this is a big one because now you can go get paid to fly. So I took this check ride 7/18/2019. So about 3 months after the instrument check ride, and passed it first try. This one is obviously different than the past two check rides, different maneuvers. They just want to make sure basically that you have more mastery of the airplane, because now you're going to go get paid to fly. You're going to fly around people or cargo or whatever kind of job you're going to pick up. Probably most often what I did, you're probably going to go do become a CFI, become a flight instructor. So that's what I did after this, but that is another check ride. Same thing with commercial. You're going to take a written, and then you're going to take the check ride, a couple hours oral exam, and go fly and hit all those maneuvers that you have to nail basically for that check ride. Pretty much finished that, and then I immediately got into my CFI training. Becoming a flight instructor is probably the hardest rating that you're ever gonna get, because there's so much knowledge involved. Like, you have to really, really know your stuff, considering you're about to teach everybody, you know, getting everybody their private license, you know, eventually if you get your double I, their instrument rating, then their commercial license, and everything like that. So I did my CFI 3/29/2020. So I took a little bit of time off, and then I knocked that out. It was definitely the hardest check ride, but very, very rewarding. And the second I got this, I was lucky enough to start working at Melbourne Flight Training. So thank you, Derek. He hired me, and I was able to start racking up my hours. I became a much better pilot in this process, and I was able to obviously gain my hours towards going to the airlines, which going Part 61, I needed 1,500 hours. So, you know, at this point, when I got my commercial, I'm at 340 hours. So, you know, a lot of, 1,200 hours, left to build. So I did pretty much all of that as a flight instructor. So after my CFI, I did my commercial multi-engine add-on. So now basically that would allow me to get paid to go fly multi-engine airplanes. And it's just, obviously you need that rating because most jobs are going to be in multi-engine planes, and the airlines require you to have that and time in multi-engine planes. So really fun rating, just, learning about multi-engine aerodynamics and just learning how to fly a newer, bigger, faster plane is always very exciting. So I did that for 2020, very soon after my CFI. So I just kind of knocked that out as fast as I could. Then once I finished that, moving on into the new book, I did my CFII. So basically became a instrument instructor. I was able to teach people, instrument flying rather than just private and commercial, which keeps it interesting. I would suggest doing this as well. It just makes life as a flight instructor, if you're gonna do all of your time building as a flight instructor, it makes it a little bit easier because you're not teaching the same maneuvers and the same things over and over again. You're getting a little bit of variety in your students. So I did this on 7/27/2020. So a few months later, did my double I, and then last but not least, or actually not last, second to last, did my MEI. So I was able to teach in the multi-engine airplane, getting people their commercial, multi-add-on or their MEI. So I did this a little bit later on, 2021, 3/19/2021. Took a few months, was obviously flight instructing, making some money, and then I did my MEI. And then once I got all my hours, the last thing you're really gonna get is your ATP, your Airline Transport Pilot Certificate. This I obviously needed 1,500 hours, and I basically went and did it with the first airline that hired me. So that's usually what's gonna happen is a regional, possibly a low-cost carrier. They're going to hire you and then put you through training and get you your ATP. So long story short, there's a lot of tests, there's a lot of studying, there's a lot of flying, a lot of time building, but it does go pretty fast. That whole process, starting in November of 2018 and then finishing February of 2022. So it's really not that long of a process. And like I said, I went at my own pace. I went a lot slower than a lot of other people have gone. But yeah, that is the typical progression of things. You get your private, then you do your instrument, then commercial, you do your commercial multi-engine add-on, become a CFI, a double I, an MEI, and then you get enough time and you go to the airlines. Obviously, you don't need to do any of the flight instructing things. You could just get your commercial, and then, man, you can find other jobs. You can do banner towing, you can fly skydivers. If you know somebody who owns, a plane that wants you to fly it, then boom. And if it's a jet, then get you type rated and you can start flying, corporate. That's a really good gig too. That's, probably better experience, honestly. Looking back, that'll get you more ready for the airlines if that is your goal, because that's kind of flying you're gonna do. As a flight instructor, you become really good at flying the Cessna 172 or whatever you're flying, and you learn a lot about aerodynamics, and you learn how to teach people and how to adapt to different learning styles. And I really wouldn't change it, but if you go fly a jet, that's what you're gonna be doing in the airline, so that experience actually carries over a lot better. But that's it, really. In terms of cost, it cost me around $65,000. I'd say you're probably gonna spend nowadays anywhere from like 80 to 120,000. But with that said, a lot of these airlines, first year now is 100,000, and some of them are doing signing bonuses. I'm not sure actually now. A lot of those have halted since the shortage isn't, in effect anymore. Really, a lot of airlines have slowed hiring, so maybe the signing bonuses will come back in a year or two. But it doesn't take that long. It's not that hard. It is going to require a lot of time and studying, but it's fun. You're learning about flying an airplane. You're going up and flying an airplane. It really was a good experience. When it comes to making money early on as a flight instructor, you really don't make a lot of money. I was probably making $30,000 to $40,000 a year for the year and a half that I was a flight instructor. But then once you get over that, you get to the airlines, you're making 100 grand a year. You can pay off those loans pretty quick if you did get a loan, or if you had enough money and saved up, then even better, and you're off to the races once you get to the airline. So yeah, I never really talked about it. Never talked about like the full breakdown of how I got to the airlines, but that was it. I pretty much started right after college. I didn't know what I wanted to do, applied to a few different places, wasn't really excited. And then I was like, you know what, let me try this whole airline pilot thing. I went and did a discovery flight, which I can offer you guys as I've talked about. And I fell in love right there, started training and never stopped. Pretty much did each test, each rating, one after the other until I made it to the airlines. And then now I've been in the airlines almost 3 years. The life in the airlines is pretty good. My quality life is great. If you follow this channel, you can see that I sit reserve most of the time. I don't fly all that much. I love my life. I live here in Tampa. I fly the Airbus. A little different than the other videos, but I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any other questions, definitely put them below. Before you do that though, I'm sure people are gonna ask about ATP, Embry-Riddle. I don't know. I didn't obviously go to those schools. I've heard, from friends that did go there, that was a pretty good experience, but my experience was at Melbourne Flight Training, and that's the only thing I could really talk about. And I work with them now, and I can get you guys free discovery flights. So that's the only one that I can really recommend, since I did everything start to finish there. So like I said, link in the bio, hit them up, tell them I sent you, and you get a free intro flight to their career airline pilot program. Other than that, thank you so much for watching. Nice quick video. Just wanted to break that down real quick, and I will see you guys on the next one.